Hello everybody, my name is EK and welcome back to the channel. Now today, as you can clearly see from both the title and the footage, we are not talking about Guild Wars 2, we're talking about Guild Wars 1. And the reason I'm going back to Guild Wars 1 is because in about 4 to 5 months, we have the End of Dragons expansion coming up, which is going to take us back to Cantha. So what I want to do is I want to do a quick video just talking a little bit about the place, talking about the things that I'd like to see there, talking about the scenery that we might get to see, and just having a nice casual run through. So here, first of all, we're starting off in Shing Jea Island. Also, I'm on my monk. This is my original character. Let me actually check the age here. So this character is 165 months old, which is like 12 years-ish. Anyway, that's all the preamble out of the way. And let's talk about Qingji Monsters. This is the monastery where you start. This is where all the new recruits are trained. You get a bit of a tutorial here talking about the game mechanics. It's not, too interesting for a Guild Wars 2 player, I guess. So I won't go into too much detail regarding the mechanics and stuff. But it's a pretty nice and chill looking place. There's a lot of these like bridges and these archways and there's like these buildings up here. Obviously this game is a lot older. So obviously this game is going to look a lot worse than, the second game. But I'm actually really looking forward to visiting this in the second game because I'm quite confident they can pull off some really cool stuff with all this artwork. Here you can see there's this dragon thing. Like dragons are big in Cantha. Here we have the henchman, which is like an AI controlled system that you can play with in Guild Wars 1 to keep playing the game even after a lot of the community has kind of left the game. It is still very active, but it's obviously not as active as it was back in the day. And then here I've moved us into the next area. This is Sunqua Vale. Now you might recognize the name Sunqua from Guild Wars 2 because we have a fractal called Sunqua Peak. So Sunqua Peak presumably takes place somewhere in the mountains here. Like I'm assuming it's supposed to take place like up in these mountains somewhere there. Or at least some mountainous area over here. It's a relatively small mountainous area here. But I'm assuming Sunqua Peak supposedly takes place like somewhere around there. So I really like this area because it's very nice and green. We've got like these flags. You can see a lot of the environment. You can see this nice looking, like imperial looking fort almost over there. Alright, so here we have the next cool looking area. We have the Panjang Peninsula, which I guess is not really a very cool area, but I kind of like showing it. This is like the outskirts of Shing Jea. We have Kaitan village here, which is a village with a lot of crops and stuff. We got some NPCs talking to us that we for now can just ignore. There's a lot of farms here, and I'm assuming we'll see these farms again in Guild Wars 2, or at least we'll see some farms. They'll probably look a bit bigger. And we have the same bridges again. These bridges are copy-pasted throughout a lot of Shing Jea, but they look really cool, so that's fine. There's also a place over there. I'm not even sure what it is specifically. But it looks pretty cool. It looks like almost like an arena of some sort. I'm wondering if I've ever even been up here. I think I must have. But yeah, I like these little fireplaces. Like, it's very nostalgic for me. Anyway, I'll move on to the next spot and I'll see you guys in a moment. Alright, so we have now made our way to the bottom of the Panjang Peninsula, and we have this place called the Ryan Cave. Is that the correct pronunciation? Ryan Cave? I guess so. You can see, obviously, the game is a bit older, so the textures are not going to hold up very well. But at the bottom of this place, there's actually a very cool looking bell kind of thing that I remember seeing when I was playing through this game again at some point, and I was like, this is something that I would want to show if I ever did a video like this. So for some reason I really like this bell. Like, it looks very ominous. We've got these like beams of light coming through. Obviously these beams of light will be a lot better. There's also a lot of mobs actually killing me, but this game doesn't really have downscaling like Guild Wars 2 does. So these mobs are all like level 2 and shit, so they don't do anything to us. I've actually brought 2 healers and someone who buffed the movement speed, so pretty much nothing can happen to us as we're exploring these lower level areas. But yeah, I really do like the way this bell looks. And I'm hoping we can visit this cave again in Guild Wars 2. I don't know if this bell has any purpose, but I would love for that to be an event of some kind around this specific bell. Anyway, moving over to the next spot. So as I mentioned, I wanted to bring us to Saitang Harbour. So this is the main harbor, and this is where you can, enter the island, leave the island. Something tells me we will be entering the island from Saitang Harbour, which is a little bit weird because we are coming from up there somewhere. Like, we're coming from the north, which means that we will be looping around the place to then go to the Saitang Harbour. But I guess, you know, in real life that makes sense. You would loop around to go to the harbour. So I think it will make sense. And I will probably, which is, it's kind of weird to say because it's a very big map. Like, there's a lot of different places you can go to GuildWars 1. It'll probably be one big map. I'm kind of hoping they'll have a Shing Jea Monastery, like, town map almost, like Divinity's Reach and Black Citadel, etc. But they probably won't do it, and I'll probably just make this one big map, kind of like they did with the Domain of Istan, which is actually the GuildWars Nightfall starter island. Anyway, this place doesn't really look that cool. I mean, there's like a lot of these same architectural choices. There's the red. There's a lot of red here, like red with like this grayish stone. This is pretty much the standard Shing Jea architecture. We've got these henchmen over here. See, this place looks really cool, though obviously if you don't have the nostalgia for the game, you know, it's gonna look a little bit I guess. Like, the graphics probably don't hold up very well. There is a bit of snow as well on Shing Jea Island, as you can clearly see. So if I were to go through this portal over here, which will bring me into the Shaoxiang Trail area. Actually, that's not what it's called. It's called the Jaya Bluffs. Which, to be fair, I think actually holds up quite well. I kind of like the white areas here. I like the snow in these zones. And once again, we've got one of those bells. This is the same kind of bell that was in the cave. I think it's a bit different because there is, like, it's less covered, I think. But then again, I don't have a one-on-one comparison. Also, I like how there's these houses, like, down there in the snow. That I guess I've been snowed in and just never, you know, breathed, I guess. I've actually never even checked that place out. Like, I wonder if I can go down there. See, these kind of videos, obviously I did a little bit of preparation where I kind of figured out where I wanted to go. But for about 90% of this video, I'm just going to go by feel and just do whatever, and I'll cut out what I don't like in the end. So I might be cutting this out. I don't know. Anyway, we have these houses. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, it's actually very white. Like, my eyes are dying on me right now because I don't have a backlight against the back where the monitor is aimed. So everything is just like beaming into me. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. So as you can see, it holds up reasonably well. Oh my god, we've got a Yeti. This is one of the mobs that I'm actually kind of looking forward to bringing back. I'm hoping they bring the Yetis back. They look pretty cool. I like them. Can I take a good look at them? Also, we've got Ogden Stone Healer here, guys. This is Ogden Stone Healer in GuildWars 1. I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, this is him. And this is Donkoro. This is a ghost you can find in the Desolation, who sells you the trinkets for, I think, Harrier stats. This is him in GuildWars 1. Can you please stand still? You can't? Okay. Well, that's a tiger, in case you weren't aware. Anyway, that's the Jaya Bluffs, and that's pretty much everything I wanted to show on this island. Let's move on to the next area. So the next area would be Keineng City, or more specifically, Keineng Center. Now, Keineng Center is the capital, I guess you want to call it, of the Keineng City, well, map. Like, it's a very big map. There's a lot of different areas here, but this is the main capital. Though I think people also kind of consider the marketplace down here like a kind of capital-like area. It's a bit weird. I personally really like both maps. It's a very, you know, nice city. There, it does look a little bit slum-like, but it also looks very imperial with all the architecture and stuff. And it's kind of a nice blend between looking very expensive, but also looking very cheap. If you walk up here, you can see the GuildWars 1 banking system. I think it's around this corner here. Yeah. So you see those Junlai chests. Now, those chests you can also see in the Eye of the North, which is kind of a throwback to the Junlai chest in GuildWars 1. So if I were to click this, you would go into my bank. There's pretty much nothing in here. Though I do have a miniature Kunavang that I at some point still have to sell. But selling in this game is kind of tricky because it requires actual communication with people. Anyway, that is the city center. It looks really cool. I really like it. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so this is Raizu Palace. Now, Raizu Palace is next to Kaineng Center. And this is kind of the more expensive places where the royalty lives. And this is, you know, where all the gold comes in. So we still have the red architecture. And we still have a bit of the gray, I guess. But a lot of the gray has kind of been replaced by gold. And I think it looks really cool. And I'm really, really hoping they bring this back. Now, personally, I'm not very much into the guild decoration system, but I can imagine them really using a lot of this stuff for guild halls. And you can build like a very imperial-looking area. Alright, so the next area I want to show is the Dragon's Throat. So you just saw the more expensive-looking areas of Kaineng. Well, this is kind of the more slum-like areas. You know, we've got a lot of, like, I want to say waterfalls, but, you know, most of that is probably, like, urine and shit. And these are, like, sewer systems. There's pipes everywhere. Like, this just looks like a turd of some sort. Like, it looks pretty bad. But, I can only imagine what the smell here must be like. Also, if I go around this corner, I do believe, I can leave it and go into an area called, like, Shadow Passage or something. Shadows Passage. Yeah, dude, my memory, oof, it's amazing. I seem to be remembering things. So this is kind of like the underbelly of Keineng City. This is where the criminals live. This is, you know, a very dark area. There's like a lot of layers even above us still. This is where people live above us. Now, the problem is these mobs are level 24. Am I in hot mode? No, I am not. So I'm not sure I can even survive just running through here. So there's a decent chance I'll die, but I just want to quickly show it off. We've got these Jade Brotherhood people who I'll not talk about right now because that would, you know, just become a big lore dive, which I don't want to do. It all looks fairly similar. Obviously, they don't have an insane amount of stuff to show. I'm also dying here, so it's fine. All right, I'm dead. Moving on to the next area. Next up, we have the Tanakai Temple. Now, Tanakai Temple is a very famous mission in Guild Wars 1. It is quite similar to the previous area, though this one is a bit more bright, and this one has a lot more, well, I guess brown going on. There's also, I'm pretty sure, statues of some mobs that you fight in here. Are they not here? There's like these big, almost like wolf bear kind of looking things. It's probably a very bad description. That you both fight in here. They're like temple guardians. They look really cool. But for that, I think I'd have to start the mission and make my way through a part of the mission. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, this place looks pretty cool. This is a very famous mission because this is kind of where the difficulty in this game ramps up, and this is where a lot of people who are new to the game kind of get stuck. So yeah, fun memories. And as we make our way out of Keineng City, we head to Matu Keep. Now, Matu Keep is on the edge of Keineng City and the Pengmei Valley. Now, Pengmei Valley is kind of a weird transition area. This area is kind of reminiscent of Shing Jea, and I do really like this part being here. So if I go here, let me see if I can see it from the point where I load in. You can see that there's this weird transition from like the city. You can actually see the city from here. And you're moving away from the city. There's even a part, I think it's more like here, where you kind of start walking out of the city, like you can actually see yourself leaving the city. I won't show it because it doesn't look much more impressive than this, but it's a nice transition. I'm hoping they will have a map that will also showcase the transition between the city and this area. So I'm kind of hoping that there will be a city map up here, and then a secondary city map that kind of has like the city, a bit of Echovald, a bit of the Jade Sea, and then Pengmei Valley, like in one big map, because that would be really cool, because then you have like 4 different areas there. That sounds very cool. And let me see, do I now go the Echovald Forest or to the Jade Sea first? Let me do the Echovald Forest, because I think the Jade Sea is the coolest. So first, let me just go to the first map you ever encounter in Echovald Forest and show you what it looks like. So here we have the petrified forest of the Echovald Forest. Now, you can see these trees look very cool. Obviously, once again, you know, it is an old game. It's not going to look absolutely amazing, but you just have to imagine what they can do with this in Guild Wars 2. Now, I don't want to go through that exit because that will bring me back into Pengmei, but actually, yeah, that will bring me back into Pengmei. I want to go into the exit that is up here. So all these outposts, they have multiple exits usually, like usually you can go through them. It's like a transitionary area between Matu Keep, and then you go to Pengmei Valley, and then Pengmei Valley brings you to Tanglewood Corpse. Not Corpse, Cops, and then you go into the next area, which is located over here, which is called, there's like a post thingy here. There seems to not be anything. It's called Arborstone. You can see it still looks fairly green. There's a white tiger here that we would be able to capture if we were a ranger, which we're not. There's some mobs there. I have to be very careful once again. I don't want to actually even fight here. Like, I'm just going to let myself die, which is totally fine. I just want to showcase that there's like these big trees all over the place. Like, they cover the entire skybox. There's also like the cathedral stuff over there that I'll show you guys in a moment, because that's kind of what the cities here look like, the outposts. Also, you may be noticing that the draw distance is very big. And in some places it looks kind of weird. Like over there it looks kind of weird because you can kind of see out of the map. That is because there is a setting, and let me see if I can do this without my party dying. So if I go to graphics, we have enhanced draw distance that I can turn on and off. This is what the game looked like originally, and now we have enhanced draw distance, which kind of bugs with the game sometimes. But usually you weren't even able to see the cathedral over there, but with the setting I am able to see it. So that's something they added later on because PCs back in the day couldn't handle it. But since I realized, well, now it can, there were like 2 or 3 devs who did this in their free time, and, you know, I applaud them. Good job. So while my party is busy dying, let me teleport to the next one, and let me go to House Zuhelter. Or House Zuhelter. So you may know the character called Victor, who is now revealed to be the new specialization for the Revenant. He comes from here, or at least his name is referenced here. And this, I think, looks amazing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing this kind of stuff in Guild Wars 2. So these cathedrals are like very Gothic inspired, I suppose. And they kind of have these big cathedrals built into the trees. Like the trees kind of become part of the architecture. These are the Kurzik people. So the Kurzik people generally look a little bit emo, I guess. Which, you know, if that's your style, then that's your style. But I do really like this place. I love the candles. Like, it kind of gives me a very church vibe, but in a very almost ominous way. And I really like it. It looks very cool. So yeah, the Echovald Forest, as much as it's a very cool place, it is a very similar place. There's not a lot of diversity in there, and I'm hoping they can bring diversity a little bit more in the second game. However, there is this place called the Harvest Temple. Now, who here has heard of Kunavang? Well, there she is. This is Kunavang. Let me walk away a little bit and showcase Kunavang. So, actually, I think I should zoom in. Yeah, so this is Kunavang. This is the dragon that we saw in the trailer. This is who's being communicated with in the initial trailer, where she says, no Kunavang, we must, or like, there's something in reference to Kunavang. I can't remember the exact line, but, you know, it's in the trailer. So this is also the place that we saw in another trailer, and I might put up a picture if I can remember. But this is the Harvest Temple. This is a very iconic place. I kind of want to just leave the area and see if I can get a bit of a view. I think the easiest way would be to go into Unwaking Waters and actually start the mission. Yeah. It's too small to enter. Okay, we actually need people in here. Well, I'll just throw random heroes in here, which are like customizable AI controlled or semi-AI controlled characters you can add to your party. As you can see, like, you can put up a skill bar here, and I can actively use the skills if I wanted to. I can position them somewhere I want them to position. So they autoplay themselves unless I give them commands, which is it's a cool system. I really like it. Even from here, you can actually see the temple. Like, it looks really cool, though I think you get a bit of a better view when we actually load into it. If not, then I might just cut this. So we've got Kunavang over there. And Kunavang... Okay, so the time to start is actually 50 seconds, so I'm gonna cut. I'll see you in a moment. Oh, by the way, this is Kos. So you might remember Kos, the guy who is in the cave. He wrote Kos on Kos. This is him in Guild Wars 1. He's a cool guy. Anyway, we have 3 seconds left, so let's run in here and see if I actually added something by going here. Now, these mobs, I just want to ignore. They're not here. They don't exist. Please let me pass. Like, my party is like slightly underleveled. I have bad builds right now. I just want to run. Can I pop fall back? Okay, got myself some movement speed. Here we go. Just weaken Kunavang to destroy the barrier. As you can see, she's like kind of like possessed kind of stuff, like this green stuff. But yeah, this here is the Harvest Temple. There's this very cool looking screenshot where you can see, I think, Kunavang around, or might even be... Oh, taking heavy damage from Kunavang. It might even be the Deep Sea Dragon or something, or a champion of the Deep Sea Dragon who's around the Harvest Temple. And I should be overlaying it on the screen if I can find it. Anyway, that is all I wanted to show for Unwaking Waters, or Harvest Temple. And this, by the way, is the Jade Sea. Like, we're actually on the Jade Sea right now. This is what it looks like. And I think it looks really cool. The reflections are actually well done for a game from... like, what, 05, 06? Something like that, I think. Anyway, we seem to be dying all over the place. So let me move to the final area, which is the actual Jade Sea area. That's not like this small, like, little place here. Let me go to Kavalon, which is kind of the capital city. Like, House Zuhelter is the capital city of of the Echovald Forest, and Kavalon is the capital city of the Jade Sea. This is a bit more of a bright place. You can clearly see that the reflections, they're probably cheated quite a bit. Like, I'm assuming most of these are not actual reflections done from up in the sky, because I don't think the game could handle that back in the day. But they look good, and I think that's all that matters. So let me see where I can actually leave the outpost, because honestly, I don't know. Also, Ghost One has this cool system where you can have this mini-map instead of having just the big map. There's the compass, there's the mini-map, and there is the big world map. So here we have the Arpacalicos. Did I pronounce that correctly? Arpacalicos? I think I did. It's weird because you see all these words and you don't really pronounce them. Like, you just read them as you're a kid. You don't actually pronounce them. Yeah, this is what it looks like. Let me see if I can find a little bit of like open waters a little bit more. I guess this is quite open here. There are more like very open places here, but I'm not quite sure where the best way to find it would be. Like, I guess probably somewhere like Korea's seabed. But yeah, there's all these waves and there's these ships stuck in the Jade, because obviously, you know, this thing froze over in an instant. Like, it wasn't like the people got a warning. This thing froze over in an instant, and the ships were kind of petrified with the Jade, or with the water actually. Now, what turned it into Jade? You know, that's an interesting story for a different day. But this is kind of what the Jade Sea looks like, and I can imagine they can recreate this very well in Guild Wars 2. There is a reason to believe this might not be there in Guild Wars 2, but that also is a different video for a different day. So I think I have covered most of the things I want to see. Now, obviously, I really want to see areas outside of this. Like, we know Cantha is bigger. We know there's more to see to the east and to the south down here. There is more to see. We have seen the actual continent on the world map. I would like to go to places like here. I want to go down here. There's another like Shing Jea Island kind of place like down here. All of this stuff is actually not playable in the first game. Even this stuff here is not playable. So I'm really hoping that we kind of get the coverage that we had in Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 initially. And then as the next season, Season 6 or whatever it's going to be called, rolls out, I want it to, you know, showcase us areas that we haven't seen yet. Like, go into the mountainous area up here. Just some cool places. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. Let me see how I can cut down this 29-minute video into a shorter video, because I feel like I've just been rambling and probably saying a lot of stupid shit. So thank you very much for watching. Oh, by the way, if you've made it to this point in the video, first of all, thank you very much for sticking with my ramblings. And second of all, I have kind of been thinking about maybe playing through the entirety of Cantha again before the expansion launches. I have been streaming. My stream is actually EK as well, so look me up on Twitch and you might find me streaming. I'm trying to stream a bit more regular again because I really do enjoy it. And I'm thinking I might either play through this game in a recording, like actually do a let's play of some kind, or I might just stream it, because streaming is a lot less effort, because it doesn't require me to edit hours and hours and hours and hours of footage for a series that might get very low views. Anyway, let me know what you think. If you want to see it, please let me know, because I will most likely do it if I have some people who request it. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a nice day, and I'll see you around.